Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zonde with your technology and social media news. If you want to be a part of our tech conversation, it is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you what you are getting up to as we are under lockdown in South Africa. Results of that are coming up later in the program. But first of all, here's what's coming up tonight. We give you a couple of options that you can do as you are sitting indoors. These are tech possibilities. We have information on a young man who says he's come up with a solution that taxi commuters can use as they commute to work as South Africa deals with the spread of COVID-19. And our discussion is looking at smart cities. As South Africa has been dealing with the rapid spread of COVID-19, President Cyril Ramaphosa has urged us to stay in our homes. Twitter has been calling it hashtag shutdown South Africa or hashtag lockdown South Africa. We have a couple of tech options for you that you can use or get up to as you are staying indoors.
Yes, you are absolutely right, Spumelele. But what you didn't know is that I am also a professional esports gamer. So I always play esports indoors. So with my 21 days of lockdown, I'll make sure that I play a lot of games online and read a lot of ebooks. I'm chilling with Zamanisi, who says, with technology at her disposal, she is not bothered at all. So what's there for you to do while stuck in lockdown?
Aside from like the physical stuff, like the writing and the reading, there's a lot I can do on my cell phone, tablets, laptops. For instance, besides the social media, there's YouTube for one, and then I can also go into plenty of apps, for instance, like gaming apps.
Now, a lot of parents are worried that their kids will fall behind now that the schools are closed. As a parent, do you have a plan in place?
Fortunately for me, as one of the worried parents, my daughter's school is very, tech savvy. They're very tech wise. So aside from the WhatsApp, where it is, they post the general information, they also communicate with us through emails. And then there are apps. There's one app called the D6 Communicator, which is basically the school's contact book, and it's available to a range of schools within the country. And then there's another app called the Seesaw Class app, and then the Seesaw Family app. And then the Seesaw Class app is basically the whole classes as, let's say, a grade. So grade R up to grade 7.
Have you also thought about starting a blog, maybe perhaps about the coronavirus?
To be honest, no. I mean, I have blogged before, but right now I prefer to be reading other people's blogs.
So don't you think it's time for people to also host a Netflix party with friends and family?
Watching movies in a group is always amazing. It's always a great experience, even sometimes frustrating, but it's a beautiful experience for the families to just get together and, have a good time.
I also think playing video games is another option for people, just to pass time. Don't you think so?
Games are also very good. They're best. Especially because games engage your mind and your body. So it's a very recreational activity, which is great for the whole family, just to distract everyone, as well as for everyone to bond, So definitely games, definitely.
I also believe that people should try meditating during this time. And I also believe that there are apps for that too. It
definitely is time to meditate, especially with the anxiety and the uncertainty that's going on. So meditating is good to just it's good to just calm down and bring yourself to center. So I definitely say meditate. And there are apps. There are plenty of apps. And besides the apps, there's also YouTube.
I also know that you're more like me. You're a bookworm. Don't you think it's also time for people to read more books, especially ebooks?
Reading rate has been very low. If we're being honest, the reading rate has been very low, and this is the best time for everyone to read. And there's no longer any excuses. You cannot say that because there's no book in the house, I cannot read. We have ebooks. So everyone must just go into their phones, download ebooks and read.
So people need to eat as well.
Unfortunately, your restaurants have been closed, so your Mr. D and Uber Eats have been closed down, but there are delivery services, like your Pick and Pay delivers food at home, so you can just order on your cell phone and groceries will be delivered at your door.
Zamanisi, thank you so much for making time to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this tech has a more urgent purpose than the luxury of its conveniency. Like any other South African, I'll be spending my time playing games at home.
The reason we've been asked to stay indoors right now is because of the rapid spread of the coronavirus. Now, one taxi commuter is hoping that his app will educate other taxi commuters once the lockdown has ended.
Digitizing COVID-19 awareness through an app.
And it also shows you your SOS functions and distress functions.
Driven by patriotism amid the panic and anxiety.
You have a rank list, so you can see all of the different ranks via a list.
30-year-old Skona Khumalo developed the Kwela app in 2018. It lists train, bus and taxi routes and prices.
You have also a chat function where you and other commuters can get into a chat group.
But with much of the conversation now dominated by the coronavirus, adding helpful information is a natural extension of the app.
If you click on this button, every update regarding the coronavirus will come up through the notifications, whether it's identity methods, symptoms, as well as the hotline will be available here as well.
A handy tool for commuters.
Word of mouth is literally the quickest way, and for us, creating a chat group where people can talk about, look, this is what we understand about the virus, this is how we're keeping safe. They can alert other people, listen, this rank has masks, this rank has gloves. These updates are basically to raise the consciousness of all South African commuters, constantly seeing these messages. Wash your hands, make sure that if, for instance, when coughing and sneezing, cover your mouth, throw the tissue away immediately.
With millions boarding taxis daily and physical contact unavoidable, concerns are real.
The issue of handling cash. Indeed, we've just indicated in our statement that everybody has been caught off guard. There is no ways in a matter of a month or 2 months would implement the electronic fare collection system. It's a system that must be developed and everything. Hence, we are doing everything we can.
We have come to the conclusion that as the biggest mode of public transport in our country, we could easily be the most rapid inter-persons transmitter of the coronavirus, given that our taxis transport over 30 million passengers daily.
And no endeavor is too small. Khumalo's crusade to protect passengers stretches beyond the app.
So you have a like button, you can favorite your rank, you can have, so this is 4-ways rank, you can just click.
He will be joining the Taxi Alliance distributing protective equipment at central taxi ranks next week.
Another reason South Africa is under lockdown right now is because people were breaking the curfew that asked them to stay away from places of entertainment after certain times and to be at home and drink at home. So the president decided to implement this 21 days of shutdown in order for us to stop the rapid spread of the coronavirus. But once it's over, you can then enjoy your restaurant meal, but it doesn't mean you have to go out. You can order in while you are at home. Some have been struggling to adhere to conditions that say they must drink at home after 6 p.m. In a social media video, a group of men told Police Minister that it's 6:30 p.m. and won't be told by him when to drink outside their house. There are plenty of reasons people eat and drink out.
Food is very delicious here. In fact, even everybody that I've came with here, I've been receiving quite good reviews from friends that I've came with here.
As the coronavirus spreads and as people have ignored calls to be responsible, the president has been forced to shut down the country. Once the lockdown is over, you can order food in and enjoy a restaurant meal at home again. I've come to something tasty here in Durban to grab a meal. I also want to find out how the restaurant is getting to its customers, as people have been told to stay at home a little bit more. So I've heard that they are using technology to do this.
I'm very scared. It has affected us big time because we're not receiving as much customers as we used to be. We are available on Mr. D app. That's the other option that we are currently using. People order from home and also online through our website as well. Being on the app, it was mainly to make things easier for customers so that they can order food from home as well as offices, because other people cannot get enough time to drive out to restaurants and back to offices, so you can just order from the comfort of your home.
Customers say this is something they appreciate.
They also subscribe with Mr. Delivery, so you can just get into Mr. Delivery's app, place your order, it comes. The nice thing also is that it comes warm. It gives the same experience as if you are here.
Good delivery services are also ready to assist, so people don't go out unnecessarily unless they really have to, even once the shutdown is over.
If you look at businesses like Eats, for instance, right? Nobody thought we'd be actually in the logistics of moving food around and the restauranting business, right? I think it's just a matter of identifying needs, or even to the point like with Eats, figuring out that people actually want more than just themselves moved around.
For now though, we can't use these services, as even delivery vehicles won't be moving around. Once upon a time, this was new technology for cities and countries to protect themselves. But this won't really be making it into smart cities. Smart cities are actually new advanced places where people can work, stay and play. Many around the world are developing smart cities. These are high-tech spaces of work and living where the Internet of Things makes people's lives easy. Some have shared their worry that while major urban spaces are becoming smarter, rural areas will be left behind.
Can't we have a model that focuses essentially on the IT of these municipalities? Because the reason that we are getting into digital transformation, the reason we're talking about the fourth IR as cities, as municipalities, as rural municipalities, it is because we have to close the gap between ourselves and the citizens that we're actually servicing. And failure for us to do so, I don't think we'll be able to achieve what we want to achieve.
Autonomous cars and great public transport infrastructure are a need for this.
If I use an example in Durban, we've got the Moja Cruise. It's a group of taxis that's been monitored and tracked with tracking devices. They made the step up to a new level, and that already proves to me, yes, our minibus taxi industry is very much stuck in their ways, but there is definitely a bright future for them to evolve into the modern technologies and embrace the new technologies if we just look at the success that the city has got with the Moja Cruise.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has spoken about a new smart city being built in Lanseria. Some say they should upgrade already existing cities first. Let's have a conversation with Thabo Mhlongo now, who's involved in the creation of the new smart city that President Cyril Ramaphosa once mentioned to us. All right, thank you very much for being a part of our network. Maybe if you can start by telling us about your involvement as Ishnana in the new development that's happening in the smart city in Lanseria.
Well, Ishnana is a shareholder in Crosspoint Property Development that's doing the property development in Lanseria in the smart city.
What's the importance of this city?
Well, it is important because it's the first city. In many decades, we have never heard of a first city, a new city around Africa, if I may say. With my experience, I once heard 20 years ago when they were telling us, hey, Shanghai has taken 10 years in order to see what you are seeing. So one is very, very, very proud to be part of a new city, and it's something new for generations to come. You know, to have a smart city 24 hours, it's something that is very important.
Why should we be building new cities? Because someone else might say that you could have done the work in an already existing city.
It's important because you start infrastructure from scratch. And it's easy to implement that within the country for other cities to start maybe thinking that we have to look it into a smart city so that people are able to access technology better, within their homes, within their stalls, within walking in street. So somehow everybody needs to see something new in order to start something.
And what is a smart city?
A smart city, it's a city that's going to have a technology for 24 hours, and you are able to access, your Wi-Fi 24 hours. You are able to have a house that is smart within today's technology that is available. So what makes it easier is when you're starting from scratch. It makes it easier to implement it in the country.
There are areas that are underdeveloped in the rest of the country, like the rural areas, for example. Why is there a need to build this one in Gauteng?
It's a beginning. You have to begin somewhere. Now that we are speaking about Gauteng and Lanseria, it's a bare land. It's just a Lanseria airport with a lot of land that it's sitting there. So now it will change to say which is the next area in the rural area, because we need to be able to get to rural areas in terms of the competition that we have in the world, so that we cope with the world with regards to be able to for schools, for example, because the young generation, it's quicker for them to learn, they can cope quicker, and they can compete quicker.
Maybe if you go a bit more in depth about your work as Crosspoint.
Well, Crosspoint, it's a property development company that has the rights to develop around Lanseria. When Gauteng government went to build mega cities, so we were able also to bid around that, because we were doing a 90-hectare development right at Lanseria Airport. So that's where the partnership came from, to show that we can bring people into town, into a new city, schools, clinics, hotels, conferences, housing, and commercial and upmarket housing, but still have people in town, than to build them outside town or closer to a township, not to bring them within the town, within the city. So that's what Crosspoint has really put their model correctly to try and show that we have to think that we must have something called smart city.
Do you think the work that goes into smart cities can be replicated in places like Pietermaritzburg, which is where we are at the moment?
Yeah, well, Commuter municipality, for me, I see it as the next city that must really look into that in very serious matter, because we have a long history within this city. maybe people they're not aware of. You know, we used to have a foundry in the whole world. It was here in Pietermaritzburg, where you build a locomotive and export internationally. And the site is still there. If you Google around the railway station, you will see a site. Even if you Google, is a foundry. And now imagine if that site was kept, if that operation was kept, today's technology, we wouldn't be looking at Chinese to look at the fast trains, because they copied from us, from this town. You know, so it's important, this town, Mpumalanga, to look at things differently and try really to copy what is happening in the world, especially because it's a capital of the province.
Right, thank you very much for being a part of our network. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the technology space.
Lockdowns due to the COVID-19 virus has seen some creating non-conventional ways to entertain themselves, like this Ukrainian nightclub known under the name Culture of Sound that came up with an idea to organize online parties which people can join remotely without leaving their houses and breaking quarantine.
Up to 80 people watched previous streams simultaneously, but the total reach was up to 2,000 people. Maximum 300 people attended our regular parties, and it's rather crowded here on the dance floor. But last time, almost 2,000 attended our party online, and it's a huge difference. We usually advertise our parties 1 or 2 months ahead, while here we prepared everything within a day, within several hours, and it's certainly cool.
Ukrainian DJ Olga Yudovenko, who plays a mix of different styles, said the experiment proved to be successful as some 2,000 people from all over Ukraine, as well as the United States, Italy and France, joined the first party, while offline parties usually attract no more than 300 people in one night. And now in the UK. A hull designed in Poland set off for Plymouth in the UK on Tuesday, March 24th, the first stage in a process that will see a ship self-navigate across the Atlantic to mark the 400th anniversary of the Mayflower voyage.
It is progress of mankind and engineering in that. The original Mayflower was a wooden, commercial, lightly armed sailing vessel at that time. And this Mayflower is a highly sophisticated trimaran, and with an even more sophisticated interior life, which is unmanned, which is has artificial intelligence included, and via satellite it is being driven from UK.
The voyage across Atlantic is planned for September, and it will likely become the first full-sized, fully autonomous vessel to cross the Atlantic, the organizers say.
We're going to try and bring a bit of sunshine into your screens wherever you are right now.
Country star Keith Urban streamed a live concert from his home studio on Monday, March 23rd, with his wife, actress Nicole Kidman, serving as his guitar tech and backup dancer. The musician joins other artists like John Legend and Mariah Carey in entertaining people who are in lockdown or in isolation during this coronavirus outbreak.
As we are staying in our homes, this week our Twitter poll is asking you what you are getting up to indoors. Now, 43% of you say Netflix and maybe TV and chill. We're happy to hear that, because that means you are also watching us as you are staying at home. There's 10% of you who are saying playing video games. That number is in the minority. 24% of you say books and ebooks. And then there's also 24% of you who say you are probably currently bored right now. And that's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za, on email. From me, as Phumelele Zondi and the rest of the team. Bye-bye. Have a good one. May it be a productive week at home.
And